Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get started. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. And yeah, we got a new subscriber, Louis73. Thanks for subscribing. Back to the Hun project. Good morning, Mr. Eric. Welcome, welcome. The Hun project, figure number 4. I just gotta find him. Oh, we're working on his horse. We didn't get very far. Let's get this sexy elephant out of here. Look at this thing. This thing's gonna be cool. Very much so. One of you guys alerted me to the fact that there were still some museum miniatures, elephants, old school elephants, still available at the Keep. So I went on there, and the Keep does an excellent job of taking a picture of just about everything. Ian, welcome. And I've ordered them from them before at least 3 times in the last, I don't know, 15 years. Which I guess is ultimately not very many times, but it is from somebody across the pond. But I've got nothing but good service from them. But they had a picture of the elephant there and all the pieces that came with it, including that stupid looking rocket launcher, which I guess fits in here. I do have the little turret that it fits on there that goes on, and I have all my turrets mixed up because I'm always trying to modify my elephants and stuff. So, but it came with a figure that goes in it, and mine didn't. But I wouldn't use this as a rocket launcher. It's pretty stupid for that really to go with it. And anyhow, I'll be using it for the white Hun elephant. For now, that's the plan, what I'm going to use it for. Alright, let's get rid of these other troops out here. Lair of the white Huns. Alright. Let's get the droopings out. Oh, that's the old one. Here we go. And now we just got to find where here it is, where that particular brand of the brown paint is. So I decided to go to Hobby Lobby yesterday. Actually, I went there twice. I've been looking for a case for all my tufts to go in, and it's honestly been a pain in the ass because I didn't want to get one that was too big. But I did find one that finally will work. And it's a lot bigger than I wanted it to be, but I just have too many tufts. So anyhow, the bad news is it's a big box. The good news is there's room for more. Ah, shit. I just realized I don't have Australian Gregs in here either. Damn it. I may have to go back and get a bigger case. Well, not today. They're not open on Sundays. Damn it. Oh, and I have even more here. Fuck it. It's going to go back. It's just going to be even bigger. I still got these 3 to get. 3? No, there's a third one here somewhere. brought Australian Greg's Australian ones. Yeah, it's still not big enough. This is absurd. This is absurd. Alright, is there a way I can organize this? I don't want this to be a puzzle. Well, so far so good. Come on, get one more in there. Good morning, Harvey. Oh, maybe there's hope. Maybe this won't have to go back. Am I missing one? Okay. False alarm. They all fit in here. Good. That shit was getting old. Alright, I can't buy anymore. Got it. Well, I've been using like 3 different colors of tufts. I've been getting farther and farther away from using the static grass. I like the tufts better with no grass. But ultimately, it depends on what army I'm doing. But these guys are going to be stepped, so as soon as we get some forged and battle figures here, we'll paint one up and then mount 2 of these guys on a stand and then figure out what color basing I'm going to do on them. I'm kind of thinking they're going to be arid but bright. So there's going to be some bright green on it. I got home very late last night from the mom's house. As I mentioned earlier, we're working our way through all the Bond movies, watching them in order. I've seen them all except like 3, and I got home very late. I actually fell asleep multiple times in the last movie. We made it to the movie that I thought was going to be the absolute worst of the entire series. And that was the one with the Australian actor. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't like him as the cast, but I was expecting a disaster, and it wasn't that bad. And I'd seen it before, but I mean, I saw it one time, and I was probably, I don't know, under 13 years old. So I don't remember jack shit about it. But we all thought it was going to be the worst movie that we had seen so far. And it wasn't that. It was edited extremely poorly. The fight scenes and cuts from one thing to the other, they were just really, really poorly edited. But I fell asleep because, hell, I've been up since 5. So watching a movie at 10:30 at night, not exactly a good way to keep myself up. But it's nice to have a low expectation of something because things can only get better. Things can only get better. So I do at some point need to watch maybe 30 minutes of it again. I apparently fell asleep in some of the action scenes, but oh well. It's not the first one I've fallen asleep at. And that's with me getting over there relatively early to watch it. Yeah, none of I thought Telly Savalas was going to be terrible, and he wasn't terrible. Like I said, I just the one I've enjoyed so far, and of course I'm watching them in order, so you know how far I've gotten. I thought Thunderball was the best one so far. Diana Rigg was great. She was like one of the best characters in Game of Thrones, without a doubt. But I didn't think Lazenby was that bad. I mean, he doesn't look like the guy, you know. I grew up with Roger Moore, so I'm a Roger Moore fan of everything. So it doesn't mean I don't like Connery. He's just not my Bond, because those movies were already old when I started watching them. And everybody's got their favorite ones. I'm actually okay with all of them. I don't really worry about the continuity too much, you know. I expected the first movie to be extremely boring, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered it to be. So that one was okay. I expected the second movie, the Russia movie, to be the best one of the early ones, and was sadly disappointed. It was very, 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 very slow. The girl didn't do anything for me. I'm sorry, that is a factor. Not saying she's ugly, she just didn't do anything for me. And I love Robert Shaw, but he just didn't do anything for me either. So that was a disappointment. Goldfinger, it's everybody's favorite movie for whatever reason. I can't stand that freaking tosser, the freaking hat tosser. He bugs me. I don't know, kind of a silly plot. Whatever. I get why something that's stupid may be somebody's favorite movie, because it's kind of what introduced them to the whole series, you know? And, people have fond memories of something that may not be very good. I certainly have that with many movies, and it doesn't matter because, I haven't experienced as a child or a young adult that I associate with it. So that's my tie-in, and that's, of course, personal. But I'm not a fan of Goldfinger. Thunderball, I didn't remember anything about, and I thought was, other than the sped up sequences in certain places, I thought it was pretty solid. People claimed that the action scenes were really slow underwater. I didn't fall asleep. The girls were cute. That helps always. Um, what was the other one? The volcano one. The volcano one. We're all sitting there trying to figure out why the hell he was turned. They decided to turn him into a Japanese guy, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, just to hide as a villager, and he ended up sneaking into the volcano anyways. I like the concept of it, but I don't know if it was really well executed. And then this one that we just saw last night, that honestly, I had really low expectations, you know, and it was all right. It was okay, you know. I'm glad I didn't make more. Poor guy. Oh well. Isn't bad compared to later Roger Moore ones. Let's sing while paying the Babylonians is my mother-in-law's house. Okay. Yeah, I grew up with Roger Moore and like him in anything, and I don't care they're goofy. They're all goofy. Think about it. And I've seen the Moore ones more than any of them, by easily. Because they used to come on TV and we taped them. So, actually, the funny thing is, I've only seen Moonraker one time all the way through. It would come on TV and you got to go to bed. So I could never finish the space part, which of course is the stupid part, according to everybody. So that's not my favorite one. I love Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die is a great movie. And The Spy Who Loved Me, and the one with the crossbow girl. There's your reason alone to watch that one. For your eyes only. But they're all good in their own way, I think. I don't see what the big deal is with Ursula Andress. I really don't see what the big deal is with her. I mean, her character was just like, holy dumb blonde. Holy dumb blonde with no dialogue. Yeah, it is. All right, Dirk, welcome. Yeah, I like him in everything, and I like Connery in everything too. You know, and honestly, I didn't like Brosnan at all, and he kind of grew on me. Everybody's kind of, I'm okay with all of them, for the most part. I don't like the new ones. I haven't seen the last one that everybody hates. I don't have a problem with Craig. I don't like the new ones because of plot really. I don't know. Some of the other ones have a problem with plot as well, but they are what they are. They're better than any superhero movies. Okay, everything's on a. As I'm wearing a Batman shirt. Batman doesn't count. But just figured to wear something different today. Um, they're better than any superhero movies, and you know, we all have our favorites. And it's funny. There's a movie that I need to see. There's actually one movie Roger Moore's in. Two movies Roger Moore's in that I've seen that I don't like him in. And people, I'm a member of a couple of these different Facebook groups, and people, everybody's got their agenda. That was that one you guys call out in the UK. It's called something different. It's called North Sea Hijack, and here in the U.S. it's called Folks, which is the name of his character in it. And I did not like him in that. He did not play the character that he always plays. You know, he plays the same type of character each time. I think most actors do. and I didn't care for him in that role. But no, one movie I need to see him in that is, you know, I believe David Niven's also in it, another person that I like. And just so you know, that's the kind of, as an American growing up in the 70s, that's what English actors were supposed to be like. They're supposed to be polished and supposed to be, you know, debonair. Is that the word I'm thinking of? Classy. And I'm a fan of Niven and Moore because of those two things. And they're both in a movie I've never seen, which is called The Sea Wolves. I think it's called The Sea Wolves. It came out in '81. I've never seen it, which is crazy because I need to freaking see that movie, you know? I need to be on the lookout for it. I follow tradition by seeing Daniel Craig wants the cinema with my son. Yeah, okay, I don't have a problem with Daniel Craig. I mean, he's blonde, okay, whatever. Everybody loves Casino Royale. I probably need to see it again. I don't like that Max Mikkelsen for anything. He's got some people in his movies that I just don't care for it. You know, I don't necessarily have a problem with him. I'm not a fan of the Mikkelsen guy. I am not a fan of the Javier Bardem at all. I don't even like Judi Dench. I don't care that she's a good actress. She just, you know. I tell you what, I'm watching these old movies. I'm getting such a freaking laugh. You guys know I'm old school and I laugh about stuff that people can't handle laughing about now. And there's one scene in the You Only Live Twice. It starts off with Sean Connery on the couch with the Asian girl, and he says it, and I think his first line is like, "Why do Chinese girls taste differently?" And I'm just like busted out laughing. I absolutely busted out laughing. It was hilarious. Sure, that's some woke people. And then one scene in the last one, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that talking about the father of Tracy's father, saying that she basically needed some order in her life and said she needs to be married to a man and dominated or something like that. I'm like, people these days would just lose their freaking minds. Oh, man. Anyways, we're enjoying it. I'm watching them with my brother and my mom. And which one's next? The moon one. The one with the moon, the diamond one. And the one where he looks the oldest. He's super, super old. That poor guy, I don't know that he ever looked younger than 40, ever, in any of his movies. And he immediately went to like in his 50s and 60s. I'm talking about in his look, you know? We're going to watch him. We're going to watch him in order, including then the one that was not part of the what's the word I'm thinking of? The official one. When we get around to it. It's the second one in 1983. The worst Roger Moore movie is Escape to Athena. It's pretty bad. I watched half of it, and I mean, he looks pretty sharp in that uniform, but he doesn't even try to make it. It's just a bad cast. It's a bad cast. You know what? I can't stand Elliot Gould in anything. He drives me up the fucking wall. Telly Savalas I actually like. He's who he is. He's kind of a like an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of guy that you can't hide who he is, and that's. But I can't stand Elliot Gould. He drives me crazy. And he was just thrown in there just to, hey, we need to have a Jewish character in there. I'm like, okay, but why him? You know, it was pretty bad. And I've seen some people comment that they actually liked the movie, and I'm like, you must have been on some drugs or whatever. The movie was like made on a dare. I don't think I'm gonna finish it. Nothing in it makes sense, including the title. The title. It should be escape from, right? I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. All right, time for some more coffee. I'll be right back. Connery plays a short part in The Longest Day. He's pretty young looking in that. I can't watch it, dude. It's in black and white. I think he was great in A Bridge Too Far. I mean, he's one of the few people that can pull off a mustache. Sean Connery looked great as Urquhart. I think that's what his name is. Yeah. I will be right back. Yeah, I love Live and Let Die. They always would play it on TV, and again, I never got to see the very end of the movie for many many years. I mean, the very very end. Man, Jane Seymour looked good in that. Holy cow! I didn't know that she had two different color eyes until like a few months ago. I'm like, what? Good stuff, man. All those movies are classic stuff. But I'm not a movie person, okay? So Live and Let Die I may have seen 3 times. I don't think I've seen it more than that. And I haven't seen it in, I don't know, 40 years? 40 years? Maybe 35 years. That's not true. I watched it about 3 years ago with my daughter. She's seen 2. And yeah. El Horso. Well, I'm pretty sure nobody plays the Huns and thinks they're the good guys. Just a guess. I know there's Mongol lovers out there. Not too many Hun lovers. maybe not Mongol lovers, but Subadai fans. Fans of Subadai. Subadai. I don't know. Maybe I'll roll and do Mongols after these guys. Painting two figures on a stand is a lot easier than painting more. Depends what we come up with. Some rules for light horse for our scenarios. They might be really, really interesting. So I just want to feel like you're moving around light horse. And yes, I may even actually try to watch Kelly's Heroes a second time and see if I don't throw up all over myself. I'm gonna give it another fair shot because I like the cast. I just didn't like the plot execution. It's the execution more than anything else. Used to be everybody's favorite movie except mine growing up. You have a Hunnick Army 25mm built back in the day and played WRG 5th. UK Bond movies are not shown on TV until the late 70s. The older films were regularly released to the cinema, so I saw all the pre-Brosnans at the cinema first. Okay. I was surprised how bad On Her Majesty's Secret Service was cut. It was, and what I mean is they skipped from scene to scene. It was just really bad. I mean, there was all these fight scenes where he was like doing this karate chop uppercut and like sped up, and it was just really poorly done. But it was better than I was expecting it to be, which it couldn't have been much worse than I was expecting. All right. Right. So what color? This one's a base. Okay, these two are that base SS Camo Black. This is kind of a brown one. All right, we're going to do a gray one with this for the cloth that he's sitting on. The bear rug that he's sitting on, so to speak. Let's go. Let's grab this. I don't know if late 70s is about when I started seeing him too here at the. And a lot of stuff that you watched as a kid or you maybe have fond memories of isn't necessarily the things that were worth a damn. Because there's some things that we all appreciate that when you go back and look at them objectively, it's basically a piece of crap. We just have, fond memories of them. My brother feels the same way about the Star Wars movies. He never saw them until recently and was like, I don't see what the big deal is about them. And, if I saw them as an adult, yeah, I would agree. They're not all that. But I have fond memories of them as a kid. The original three, anyways. Mighty Python and the Holy Grail. If you've never seen it until now, you'd probably think that is the dumbest shit. Well, not the dumbest shit, because there's some dumb stuff out there, but that it wouldn't be very good. I actually have an interesting story about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I had never seen a movie until maybe 1996, 1995, 1996. But the store I used to work at, the guy who I was working with, he had recorded the whole thing on cassette, like audio cassette. Like he played the movie and hit record the whole time. So I had heard the whole movie before I ever saw it. I know that sounds strange, but I didn't. It didn't affect my appreciation for it. But I've always liked the Monty Python type humor. But it is a pretty stupid movie. Actually, you know what's worse than it being stupid? The quality it's recorded in is just abysmal. I do have a DVD copy, and you definitely have to run it with subtitles for those of us across the pond that, some of the dialogue's pretty fast. But if you look back and, if you were to see that for the first time as, a 50-year-old, you'd be like, what the hell? That's what you guys are all laughing about? When my daughter saw it for the first time, well, except that one scene. I didn't show her that one scene. The one with the nuns. When she was like 10 years old or 11 years old or 12 or something like that. And she's always liked it. She thought it was really funny, but she appreciates that kind of humor. But again, not very good, just has, childhood memories from it. Oh, why'd this get all hard? We'll need to cleanse this. Oh, I just realized there's another black and white movie I've seen. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, and another thing, I don't like black and white movies, as most of you guys know, but I always keep forgetting. I need to make an ongoing list of black and white movies I have seen. It shouldn't be a very long list, but I've seen Sink the Bismarck, of course, which honestly wasn't that bad. The ship models alone, when I'm a kid, I'm like, freaking, that's cool, That's why you watch it, for the freaking ship models. I think they used all the right ships, if I remember correctly. Didn't they do one also on the River Plate? that they used all the wrong ships. That's also a black and white one. I haven't seen that one, but use some kind of American cruiser for the Graf Spee, which is ridiculous because there's only one thing, there's only one ship that looks like the Graf Spee. Boy, this thing is obstinate. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to coat this thing in this, and we're going to let this percolate in here and come mess with it later on today. Just slipped in an order for some forged in Greek battle Greeks. Figured I'd get them before the end of the sale. Yeah, well, for us, it basically equated to free shipping because it was 20% off, and I guess the sale was 20%. We'll do an unboxing on mine. I expect to like them a lot. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to sound like I'm made of money. I'm not. But the sale wasn't a big incentive. It just happened to be. That's when I ordered the Huns. Battle River plates in color. Oh, I thought it was black and white. Use real ships, but use the wrong ones. I already know how it turned out. Yeah, I thought Sieg de Bismarck was actually pretty decent. Of course, it focused a lot on, the main character that was in the war room and the girl, which, I don't give a shit about. I want to see ships blowing each other up. There's only one ship that looks like the Graf Spee, the Prinz Eugen. No, Prinz Eugen don't look like it. Prinz Eugen looks exactly like Bismarck, or very similar to Bismarck. That was the whole point, is so they could mix each other. The Graf Spee, the three ships in the Graf Spee class were Deutschland, which came out first, and then Graf Spee, and then Admiral Scheer. And I shouldn't have said that because I hate putting Admiral in front of the name of a ship. It's the frickin' Scheer. And then they modified the Scheer's conning tower later in the war to kind of be its unique thing. So then, say like in 1941, all three of them looked different. Their conning towers were different. Well, of course they looked different because Graf Spee was underwater, but that's beside the point. So, buying naval miniatures, if you want all three, everybody seems to make Graf Spee. There's a company called Superior 1/2400 scale. They made all three. Deutschland, I think they even modified her conning tower a little bit different when she went into Lutzow. But she had a conning tower that looked a lot like the light cruiser Leipzig. And then Scheer was its own thing. And honestly, the Scheer's one looked really, really cool. It was taller and more raked in a way. I had all three when we used to do the naval stuff. The good thing about the Battle of River Plate is it's very it's a well balanced scenario. It's a well balanced scenario but how many times do you run? Oh, they're there, so the Germans basically run away and shooters are running away, and can they kill all the cruisers before they get torpedoed, kind of thing. Oh, use the real Achilles. And the Achilles wasn't exactly the same as Ajax. Ajax had, on the secondary guns, Ajax had 4 8-inch secondary guns. I'm sorry. Let's start over. Coffee. Had 8 4-inch guns and double turrets. And the Achilles had them in single mounts. So you can't find any miniatures that are actually of the Achilles. It may have been modified to do them later. I don't know what the reason was. They probably had a shortage or something like that. But a nice looking cruiser. Yeah, that's right. She was a Commonwealth ship, not a British one. Now we played that many times, and it's an even affair. Pretty even affair. I mean, that's some of the first stuff I war game because that's what got me into World War II is reading about all those the German raiders and stuff like that. The Battle of the Atlantic, not the submarine part. I mean, that's the big ship part. You know, the submarine part obviously was a lot more effective, but we battled River Plate many times. Exeter almost always goes down. She gets concentrated on first. You know, and if the light cruisers can't do enough damage to Spey right off the bat, which is usually not the case, they got to close the distance. Freaking Exeter takes a pounding. A couple 11 inchers and even the 5.9s. The German 6-inch gun's a good gun. 5.9-inch gun. You know, there's not that many of them on a side, but those 11 inches are just cruiser killers. Okay, what color pants is this barbarian gonna have? Let's get him lighter color pants. I mean, not like white, but let's grab one of these ochre colors. Let's go with. Let's go with this one. Yes, Zeltbahn tan. Or as I like to call it here, German World War II beige camouflage. Yeah, there's only one German camouflage that's this color. Zeltbahn. Not on a tank. There's nothing on a tank that's this color. Zeltbahn base color. Uh-huh. What's the period that you guys have seen the least amount of wargaming in? And that they make figures for? You know, like Lace Wars. Is Lace Wars really unpopular? For me, I would have to say, you know, not like some Paraguayan conflict, okay? I'm not talking about stuff that just isn't very common and most people don't even know about, but what conflict that people know about isn't wargamed very much. And for me, I'd have to say, without doing an extensive study, I would have to say the War of 1812. The War of 1812 was just not not done. Even something like the Mexican-American War is more common than War of 1812. War of 1812, like what, American troops wearing shakos? What? What the hell's that all about? It's just kind of a strange thing. I'm not going to use that brush. That one's too nice for this. You save that for the face. You know, that war between the Prussians and the Austrians in 1866. That one doesn't count. That's not really one people know about. Franco-Prussian would probably count. I don't know that I've seen people do Franco-Prussian. Not very often, but I've actually seen a few Box Rebellion games. I would really like to play one of those. I think that'd be a hoot. That'd be a hoot if I'm playing the Chinese. You never tried AWI, Crimea, or Colonials? Okay, yeah, Crimea's a weird one too. Never seen Russia-Turkish War? AWI played a few times. Lace Wars are kind of unpopular here. Marlboro and the like. Last game you played was 6mm Franco-Prussian. Did it look good? Was it a good looking game? Seems like it would be. You know, the problem with a lot of those games are like, okay, I'm going to play something like 7 Years War, right? Are there any rules out there that are fun? Because it just seems like you just line up, you just blow holes, and then find out where the hole is and exploit the hole. Basically, with troops that try to avoid, in the open, they just try to go in the open and blow a hole in the enemy and just exploit that hole. Maybe all war games are like that, but Lace Wars is quite popular. The League of Augsburg rules of website are quite interesting. I've never played the period. The figures look good. I won't comment on my opponents. Uh-oh. Yeah, Lace Wars is not popular here in the States. That period where everybody looked like Captain Hook with the long flowy hair. I guess was that a wig that people would wear? That was a wig pre-powdered. It's amazing how many stupid fashions catch on, you know? Like you get somebody like Louis the 14th. I want buckles and high heels on all my shoes. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, the French are doing it. We got to do it too. play a lot of Malburian, 7 years war games using black powder. Is it okay? Can you, do you have to individually base or can you base them on stands? I tell you what, there's one thing I don't like about black powder, and not without playing it, is I'm very resistant to rules that are made by people who also make figures. And it's just that Games Workshop experience that I had. I've never played a Games Workshop game because they always discontinue them at the same time they discontinue the miniatures. Like, no, we don't want people to play this anymore, so we're not going to support it. And it's like, what? So I grew up at a time period where you either made rules or you made miniatures. You didn't do both. Just seems like almost there's a conflict of interest. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. That way they can get at it from both angles because, wargaming is not exactly a profitable business. That way they can entice. But that's fine as long as you continue supporting the products. What's that game that Warlord is doing now with the ships that are cast on flip-flops in a weird scale? They do a weird scale, so you have to buy them from them. If you want to play their game, you got to buy the miniatures from them. They sell you the miniatures also. War at Sea or whatever it's called. It's definitely not my kind of thing. I'm a devout rivet counter when it comes to ships. I want to know where the shell lands. That kind of stuff's exciting to me. I'm weird like that. I grew up playing Sea Creed 4. No casualty removal in black powder, so everything is based in multiples. Do you have meaningful decisions to make every turn? Like Lion Rampant. I played Lion Rampant 3 times. I almost love it. And I've never played it with DBA-sized armies with them on stands. I could totally see how it would work. Because you have meaningful decisions to make every single turn. I mean, it's almost more meaningful than DBA. You're like, all right, who are we going to activate first? Shit. So then, that whole, your self-induced mind screw, where you're like, well, do I want to activate the guy I really need? Or try to get some easy guys activated, even that's not who I want next, but if I blow it, it's my opponent's turn. So that type of processing is good for a game because it keeps you engaged. Not like, yeah, move everybody forward or shoot everybody. All you're doing is rolling dice then, Wigs were used, Battle of Minden. The Marquis of Granby galloped away with the British cavalry and his wig fell off. He went bald-headed at the enemy. Interesting. Battle of Minden. We have a battlefield that I went to. I had no intention of going to it. It just kind of happened. Last year, last year we went to Brunswick, Georgia, and there's a battlefield there called the Battle of Bloody Marsh. And it's a small engagement where you're talking about 150 troops or something like that. And it was part of what they call here the War of Jenkins' Ear, which is just a dumber American version name of War of Austrian Succession. And around the 1720s or 30s. I want to say it was in the 30s. May have been late 30s or something like that. And I get there, and if I ever go there again, I'm going to do a video of it, because I thought it was really pretty interesting. Because you go, and they give you this site, and all it is just this area looking over a swamp, and the Spanish had set up, the British had set up a fort, or a fort there north of St. Augustine, and the Spanish wouldn't have anything of it, so they decided to send an expeditionary force. They got creamed, because they're, walking through a swamp or everything, and they got hosed. But, it's almost like this opening looking out into the swamp, and here's what would come. But they had lots of, plates here with like pictures of the uniforms, and it was really well done. And I'm, of course, being a war gamer, I'm like, all right, who makes figures for these guys? I'm there with my phone trying to figure out, oh, okay, well, I'd probably have to use 7 Years War and put them together. And I'm like, okay, well, what rule set would it be? And, I'm the stuff I do. I don't get tempted in like ordering things, but I like to think about that kind of stuff. And I didn't know anything about that, you know. But that was pretty cool. But it's really, really small scale, you know. I don't think there was even 1,000 people with both sides involved. A mixture of different things. Like the English had a Scottish unit, and like the Spanish had black troops and Cuban grenadiers. I mean, what the hell's a Cuban grenadier? So I had to, it's just interesting. I like learning about new things. I just don't think that period is very interesting because of it would just you wouldn't have a lot of meaningful decisions to make every turn. Message retracted. Uh-oh. Bald headed. You don't have to use Warlords miniatures to play their games. Never have. All the black powder games I've played used 15 mil or 6 mil. Yeah. I can never do 28s. It just would take too long. It used to be there wasn't figure variety. Oh, there's variety now. At Historicon, that was the most common scale. Everything was in 28s. Or most things were in 28s. Or it seemed that way. It seemed that way. Minden Day is still celebrated by many British regiments on August 1st. I don't even know what war that is. Is that a Marlboro thing? Hey, that's why I like the war game. You get to learn about real things. That's why I like to, anyways. Years War, 1759. Okay. That was back when British and Germans were on the same side. Well, they haven't been traditional enemies until the 20th century. Mr. Turnbull, welcome. Okay. Shirt color. How about we give a guy with a brighter shirt color? Not too bright. None too bright. Let's get our red out. I know it won't be doink red. The only version I have the 6mm is that, let's say I have all my 6mm figures painted, right? They're done. I go to base them. How do I get the basing material in between the figure's feet? And you're going to have to cover some of the base up. It just seems like a massive pain in the ass. They'd look fine. I'd be worried about that. I'd be worried so much that I wouldn't get started on the project. Once they're done, I'm like, you got to sink or swim. You just got to try something, and and you work it out. But anybody play that new rule set that's out that the folks with Firelock are coming out with called, I think it's called Blood and Steel, and it's all Victorian type. Have you guys tried that? I think it's individual basing. I think it is, anyways. Still go to the Waterloo Diner every year to celebrate defeating the French. Well, it's what the Mexicans do for Cinco de Mayo. Is that Mexican Independence Day? No, it's when we beat the French. Bucket 6. Have textures bases. Just put a base, the two ranks close together, and put the basing material around the figure's bases. Huh. And it looked pretty good, huh? Are they compatible with Heroics and Ross, or are they different animals? Mitch and Joel really like Sam Mustafa's rules. I can't remember what the name of them are called. Maurice. They really like that. I've played it a couple times. It's one of those games that if you play it the first time, you don't know what you're doing. You're like, oh, I'll know what I'll do next time. And the next time you play it, and you're like, yeah, I did a lot better. And then you go 2 years without playing it, and then you have to relearn it again. It's not easy to remember. There's a lot of pretty good decisions you have to make every turn. I don't know if it represents the period really well, though. A lot of it is geared towards making imaginations, and I don't know that that's something I'm particularly interested in. I mean, I guess you could do what's that Monty Python thing? Munchausen. You could do something with Munchausen or whatever. There's a movie I haven't seen all the way through. I think I've only watched like maybe the first 30 minutes. It just didn't grab me. Me to sit down and watch it one time because I think that period could be interesting, but maybe I won't like it or whatever. Maybe there's a reason I stopped watching it. Bacchus are much bigger than heroics. Okay, so they're like heroic scaled 6mm. Base figures with spatula, and then glue, then fill in gaps later all at once so everything matches. Okay. Horses are much better too. Okay. Bacchus. Are there any other figure lines that Bacchus are compatible with in 6mm? I don't remember what the names of the other manufacturers are, but there's one of them, for instance, that does a lot of Renaissance stuff. And yeah, that's what I like about wargaming. You start wargaming another period, it forces you, or it would force me, to learn about the period. doesn't force you, but if you want to be, accurate, you can't help but find out about the period. How about that? Rapier compatible with Bacchus. Adler are a similar size, but have oversized heads. Aha. So there's your figure brands. H&R, Bacchus, Rapier. I think that was the one I was thinking about. And Adler. I have an interesting story about Rapier. You want to hear it? We have a local game convention that used to be called Rapier. It ran for probably 10 years. It was in Jacksonville only. And it's not very big. It's probably half the size of our other ones in Orlando. And they had a problem with a name. People would have a problem, and I just heard about this recently, but they were boycotting the convention because they thought it made fun of raping people. Well, that's ignoramus. I couldn't believe it when I first heard it. I'm like, how do you not know what a rapier is? Like, haha. Yeah, supposedly some people were upset with them using that name because it promoted violating people. Which is why I say, and people take this out of context, or they may take this out of context, not everybody deserves a voice on the internet. Okay? If you're a moron and all you're doing is causing trouble, you don't deserve to be able to talk. Now the problem is who's going to actually regulate that, but how do you not know what a rapier is? I'd love to do 6 mil, but I'd have to do both armies, which just haven't got the energy for. I feel you, Dirk. I feel exactly the same way. All you can say is, wow, yeah. And it's not, and there's plenty of stupid people in this country. It's not like, oh, it's a stupid American. Look, there's stupid people everywhere. I've seen those interviews of people on the street in the UK. You got your share of morons there, too. The internet is just making some people just stupid. Just really being able to find each other. People will complain about anything to get some self-satisfaction from changing the world for the better. Yeah, I don't. That's not how you change the world. That is not how you change the world. That's how you make people hate you. Just finished a stand of Kurdish nights. Sealed now and can dry overnight. Oh, what did I find out recently about the Kurds? There was some army list I was looking at. Oh yeah, there was some super leader I had never heard of before. And he was in the 900s. And he's a brilliant general. And I want to say the dynastic Bedouin list. I'd never heard about it, and I'm going to... Oh, I know what it is. So there's an army that Mitch is interested in having built. And it's the Karamita. And I think that they're the B list in the dynastic Bedouin list, which is a book 3 list. Around, I like 358 or something like that. And... because it has camels and they dismount and it's all kinds of stuff. And on our drive back from Historicon, I was bored and falling asleep, so I decided to read about them, out loud. And man, we found some really interesting stuff. Those guys they raided Mecca and burned the place to the ground and did all kinds of damage, killed pilgrims, like just stuff I just never even heard of. And man, there's just some fascinating stuff that people don't know about. That and there's a lot of stuff that's been lost too. Like there's things we'll never know. That is just super odd and interesting. See, we read about this Karamita guys. What you do is far more important than what you say. Absolutely, Chris. And make sure they both match. Make sure you're consistent. Don't say one thing and do something else. Be honorable. Too many people say, yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this next, and you never do it. How does that old saying go? Something along the lines of, don't let your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash. Something like that. That's my version of it, maybe. Don't say you're going to do one thing and do something else. Be honorable. That's what I call it. My boss calls it integrity. No, I'm medieval minded. I call it honor. Like what? That's bullshit. That's pistols at 30 paces. A sword duel. This feels like a personal attack on my lead pile. I don't care how much lead you're buying, Ben. It's cheap. This is really a cheap hobby. It is. What if you were a gambler? Well, there's a waste of freaking time and money. And I guess thank you. I guess there's a lot of gamblers out there. I can't even gamble playing DBA. I don't like taking risks. I just don't have the personality for that. There's a waste of time. How about people that drink a shitload? Nah, this is a great hobby. This is really a great hobby. It's relaxing, or it should be. Maybe it's not a great hobby if you don't paint. If you're a creator, if you're someone that creates stuff, and it doesn't matter what level your creation is, as long as you like what you're doing and it's bringing you satisfaction, this is a wonderful hobby. I don't mean DBA. I just mean just wargaming in general. I've been a wargamer longer than I've been playing this game. So I've been using this paint palette now for several weeks. Zero smell, zero mold accumulation. The pennies can't be that powerful. They definitely changed the sponge. It's moldifying, whatever. It's definitely an improvement. Okay, Harvey, thanks for stopping by. As always, one of our regulars. You guys, I mentioned it a little bit yesterday. You guys have any interest in creating a Discord channel and possibly integrating that with this feed? And it wouldn't be a everyday occurrence because I can't have you guys just like blurting out stuff while the girls are asleep. But you know, if there's like a week where the girls are gone and I want to get some painting done, maybe become, I don't know if I'm going to be successful because I'm kind of a retard when it comes to, can you say that anymore? I can. And that's not to put retarded people down, but you know, I am not very good at technology things when they're not made properly and are more difficult than they should be. So that may be something I could look into, is adding a Discord thing. So you guys we can just talk, you know, we can just have conversations while you guys aren't. I know we would have more interaction, or at least those people that wanted to get on Discord. I know other people do it. I don't know that I would be able to do it, but you know, this is a social experience. It is for me. I think it is. I don't get to socialize with anybody. On a daily basis about this stupid thing we do. I think we got a reasonable. I think we have a reasonable group of people here that know how to behave. I actually haven't had any problems other than that spammer. You know, I've already run off anybody who has the who has the wrong attitude. You know, trolls. I don't believe that trolls are all that common. I mean, who's got the time to just constantly stir the pot? I mean, certainly there's got to be something more useful you could do with your life. So that may be something I'll look into in the future. I don't know when they're going to leave again, but oh, this is a shitty ass brush. Or it's turned into that. Gotta go. Love your work. Watched all the big DBA fun. Watched it all. Big DBA fan. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for coming by, man. Being part of the community. I appreciate it. We have a lot of fun. Had a great time at Historicon. I could have played it no games and still had a great time at Historicon. Just about hanging out with folks. I think it's just voice, Dirk. I could look into it. I'm just, you know, some things are just more difficult than they should be. And it's not that I'm anti-technology. It's more like I don't feel like I want to be invested in finding out how things work. If they're going to change the technology every week, I don't do it for a living. So it's hard to keep up with shit, you know? I know other people have done it. I think you can create it. You can create a Discord channel, and then you can somehow integrate it here in the feed, so people could still type things. And you know, I don't know how it would work. If you go for it, try messaging the Mad Axeman. I actually know who that is. Well, I don't know who he is, but I know his site. And the Plastic Crack Chaps about how they did it. I think they're doing the paint and chat sessions online during lockdown. The Mad Axeman. He's got a lot of stuff on DBMM. Yeah. I'd rather do that than, say, play. There's a way you can play through tabletop. Was it virtual tabletop? You could play DBA games I'm not really that interested in that because I can only interact with one person. And, my purpose isn't to be famous. It's just to stay on track here. And, I know there's some of you guys that are just kind of out and about away from people that to play war games. And it's good to interact with people that have this eccentric hobby, so to speak. I can't find anybody local to talk to history about, much less military history. I might look into it. But some things technology driven are just, they're a lot more difficult than they should be. I'll give you a perfect example. A couple of years ago, my wife gifted me a gimbal. Didn't need one. And for you guys that don't know what a gimbal is, it's something you can attach to your phone that is used it as a camera, and you could hold it and rotate it. And mainly it's a stabilizer. It's basically a stabilizer for it, so your videos look more professional. I didn't mess with it much because I got it just before the pandemic. And of course there were no more shows. And then my phone, I had a problem with my phone where I had to replace it. And it doesn't work really well on the new one where it doesn't fit in there. So I just kind of didn't mess with it for a year and a half. I go to use it before this Historicon trip saying I'm going to take it with me and we'll shoot some videos. And the app for it is no longer on the Play Store. It doesn't exist anymore. And there's a couple other gimbal apps, but you know how they have a rating of like 5 stars? All these are like under 2.0. So there's something wrong when you have an app that has that low of a rating. So apparently there's no more app for it. So I'm like, do I have this thing that no longer works, or do I have to really dig deep to find out what I've got to do? Because they're relatively expensive. I guess they're about $100 or 100 and I don't know. I don't know exactly how much they are, but they're not cheap, and there's no way that people are still using this thing. And it's she said she did some research on which one to get, that this was supposedly a good one, and it is. As soon as I got it, I looked into it. I'm like, yeah, this thing's highly rated. There's no way that people 2 years after the fact aren't using it anymore. So I've got to go and do some research on what is the app that people are using to get this gimbal to communicate with the phone, because it does it kind of through Bluetooth. So again, it should be easy. Plug and play, do it. So it's not something that's very useful on a filming DBA games basis. But if you're gonna like do a tour of a battleship or do a walkthrough at Historicon, it would have been more useful and looked better. But I found out it didn't work at 10 p.m. on the night I was leaving. So that was the wrong time to go on a crusade to spend 4 hours looking into it. You could hear my atrocious accent. Can I put subtitles on? I don't know what a New Zealand accent sounds like. Yeah, that could be a problem. That could be a problem. And it's not that I can't make your guys' accents out. I'm just not exposed to them. Like I've mentioned this before. There's a guy that I follow on YouTube, and he's a fabulous painter. He's from Scotland, and he has a excruciatingly strong accent. And I can't understand a third of what he says. And, I'm just not exposed to that accent. Now, somebody mentioned that something about the Yorkshire Gamer podcast, and I listened to a couple episodes of them, and they have pretty strong accents, but I understood everything they said. So maybe there's hope for me. But if you think you have an atrocious accent, Dirk, then you need to work on it. You're obviously aware that it's a problem. You guys only speak one language. There's no reason why people. It should be difficult for people to understand you. You guys across the pond invented the language. Why can't you just stick with it? It's not the accent. It's the there's certain regional versions of the English language that omit words. If you just read right out of a book, it's just they just omit words, and if we're not used to that, it's going to be hard to follow. There was some Geordies for a time. Now that was worse than Scots. Yeah, that's a rough one. That's a really rough one, and it's the word omission, and it's the word changing. They use one word for something else, and I'm not even talking about the slang, just the omitting of words. I'm not used to that. When would I ever encounter someone that speaks like that on television? Probably the only place. And there's people here in the States that are extremely difficult to understand. I'd like to think that I'm not even close to the top of that list. My wife claims that I'm a morpher, so there's certain parts in the U.S. I can never go to because I'll bring the accent back, and I'll end up losing it as well. But I never understand how people can have a very dominant accent, live in a place with a dominant accent, and never lose it. There's a guy that I used to work with who was from New York, and he hadn't lived in New York in 40 freaking years. And he never got rid of the accent, which of course is a lovely accent. He just couldn't lose it. You come down here, and as soon as he starts talking, he starts turning people off. Like, it's that stupid Yankee. You get your ass out of here. But he lived here a hell of a lot longer than up there, and never lost the accent. I don't know how that works. I get why you have an accent when you're around people that speak that way. I would pick it up too. But then when you leave that area, I would just be accustomed to speaking to people that were from the area that I'm in. It's the omitted letters that get us around here, like want out. I'm going up, Phil. Yeah. Yeah, it's like you're trying to save up. You save up on the letters to, have whiskey instead. Just come round oh dear Lord. All right, forget Discord. You guys got to type. Have the queen come and straighten your ass out. Yeah, you guys don't need the United States or the rest of the Commonwealth to be divided by a common language. You got that all on your own. The UK is not that big. I don't know, what is it? It's smaller than Florida. Maybe not population-wise, but size wise. Give Tony brain aneurysm. Yeah, I don't know it. I mean, I'm not exposed to it. I could probably figure it out. Oh man. And it's the same in other languages. There's a show that my mom and my brother really like it. It's in Spanish from Spain, and I speak Spanish, but I've never been to school in Spanish. Okay, so it's conversational only. I could read a book in it, and I would have to look up certain words because they're over a fifth grade level. Which is stuff I don't use in my daily conversation. I figure, I'll watch it without subtitles. Hell no. The Geordie would be easier. It's very mumbled, very fast, and words and terms I'm not familiar with. You know, can't do it. No can do. No can do, senor. But I watch everything with subtitles. I tend to watch things that are complicated. So, a lot of double crossing and stuff like that. So I got to make sure I know who's on what side. So I got to read everything out. Local dialects of the UK are still influenced by history. There's still Old Norse words used in northern England. Aye. I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of discrimination based on it. There's got to be some people that get discriminated at because of how they speak. I know there is. Time for some more cafe. Right back. really, we're just trying to win you over to do some Dark Age British armies so you can all use them banter during games. Oh, I'll do them. I'll do them. I don't know that I will do. Let's see. So what do we have? What do we have of your old country? Because it's not my old country. It could have been, but you sons of bitches didn't want to listen in 1588. Oh man, I love it. King Philip was an idiot. I wouldn't have married Elizabeth. She was freaking plumb ugly. Oh man, I love it, man. You know I love you guys. So, well, I've got Irish, right? I've got Norse Irish to do, which is, I was thinking about it this morning. For an unusual nation, I don't mean Ireland, I just mean Norse Irish, Dark Ages Irish. There's a lot of people that make figures for them. I've got basically a whole Essex army that Mitch won, he gave to me. So I could basically build a Norse Irish army. But Boweda makes them. Old Glory has figures for them. I want to say there's like two other manufacturers, all good manufacturers. I'm like, there's no way I would build the Norse Irish army and not buy figures from all those and make them look really, really cool. And probably build two of the armies, to be honest with you. So you could do Clontarf, you know? And you could build Brian Baru, and because he is a command post. And I'm a fan of command post. It's a little diorama that goes into battle. It's a good way to win, to lose the game without losing the general. Because a command post is just a pain in the ass to deal with. Pre-feudal Scots, right? I got pre-feudal Scots to do, and if QRF gets up off their ass, we can do them next. We can do pre-feudal Scots after the Huns. They just need to open up shop again and put those figures back in production. So hopefully Ben put in a good word for me. I would love to paint some of their stuff, make their stuff look great, and get them to sell more figures. Unless they're communists, in which case I don't want them to have any business. Unlikely. What else do I have? Welsh. I've got most of the A and B list for the Welsh. Looking forward to doing those guys in the future. So I like. Well, you mean Dark Ages? I could be convinced to do Anglo-Saxons for the figures that are made by Forged in Battle. I mean, they're freaking gorgeous figures. Gorgeous figures. I mean, I don't think that Harold's army is very exciting. But those figures, oh, here's some of the nicest figures I've ever seen, at least on the computer. QRF just had a short break, so I'm hoping they're adding stuff back into the store tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm not opposed to. Now, here's what I am opposed to. Screw Arthur. He's just, I hate, you guys can do better than that make-believe leader. Come on, you guys have some interesting folks over there. Put them up to the top, not some make-believe dude that's the only thing I'm not interested in is Arthur. And then Phil Barker writes like a freaking novel about Arthur in the army list of that. That's the only thing I'm not doing freaking Arthur. Screw that guy. He sent it to you twice, yeah. Why didn't they send it to me? Don't they know who I am? You could be my spokesman, Ben. So I'm not opposed to stuff in the United Kingdom armies. I'm not gonna do feudal Scots because Mitch has them. I am gonna do Longshanks. Can't wait to do him. Mainly because the army has 2 horde, and I already got one of them painted, so and I got all the knights to do that. But it's too. I prefer doing the more rustic looking armies just because nobody likes to do them. Suburban British would be a cool opponent for Mitch's Saxons. Dude, Mitch's Saxons are a good opponent for Mitch's Saxons. That is his. You think my Turks have a bad win record? Those Mitch's Saxons, I think they may have won 1 game ever. You guys can do better than Arthur. Come on, folks. So, and you know, they would be interesting to do from the standpoint that I have, which is let's make guys that people overlook look interesting. But I'm not an Arthur fan. Come on, have a real guy. Strathclyde British. I don't know anything about him. The name Strathclyde sounds really interesting. I think it's a really cool sounding name. Need to do my ancestors' army one day. Duke Vada, a Northumbrian Anglo-Saxon lord from the late 8th century. Spear, spear, spear with a side of spear. And I'll tell you what, I am a fan of spear. I am a patient enough player that I can kick ass with spear armies. Those Rus I did a few months ago that I morphed them from something else. Those guys are unstoppable. My Athenians are unstoppable when I play them. The Theban, I should just do spear armies. So, now the problem with Dark Ages is there isn't a lot of information on flags. With that said, the Little Begman Studios Dark Ages flags that they make are just freaking gorgeous. They're gorgeous. I used one of them in my Irish army, and I've got them. So I've already got a flag picked out for my pre-feudal Scots. Just wait, just wait. It's just gorgeous stuff. So we'll get there. QRF just needs to get up off their ass. I might actually be tempted if QRF says, hey, the figures are available tomorrow. I might do something stupid like go ahead and order them before they shut up shop again. You know, and the only reason to get them is just so I have variety so that you can make those guys look really interesting. And then, you know, you guys think it's all a good idea until I start speaking in my messed up make-believe Scottish, and you're like, Tony, just shut up and do Spanish armies. But again, I'll say it again, I will do better than most Americans. I know that's not saying a whole lot, but now I'm not eating Scottish food, okay? I'm drawing a line there, you know. Maybe McDonald's. Nah, not even. I'm not eating Scottish food. But I will have scotch while I play them. Because I do like scotch. And it is an acquired taste. I used to hate it as when I was younger, but I like those thinking drinks. You know, those drinks you have to drink slow because they're like full octane and they help you think. On the good side. Oh, I love it. You guys fight amongst your countries and we fight amongst our states. Not even a deep fried Mars bar? No. I don't want to turn into fatter man. Maybe if I was in my 20s when I had a metabolism. I'm actually in great shape for a gamer. Not saying a damn thing. I better start. I better start chewing gum, or I'm gonna be. I might as well just slap on a diaper as much liquid as I'm going through. Nah, we don't need deep fried anything. Why Mars bar? Is that made by Cadbury or something like that? Is Mars a British brand? To do the Welsh just so you guys can make jokes about stealing stuff and sheep. Of course, it's all sheep jokes, right? It doesn't matter whether it's Irish or Scots or Welsh. There's always sheep and goat jokes in there. That's what I've noticed. I've only met one person from Wales, and that person's awesome. That's all I can say. I'm not sure. Deep fried Mars bar. Haggis? No. No, I'm not eating filters. No. I don't like meat that much. If that's what I have to eat, I'm giving up meat. Thank you. Nope. What did I do wrong? Why I gotta eat that? I wonder if I'm missing some comments. This automatically defaults to top chat, and it really should be on live chat. As I bet there's some stuff on live chat that sometimes doesn't make it through. And it's nothing that I would keep from putting on. No. Haggis, neeps, and tatties. Tatties sounds like something you'd sit on if you're not wearing underwear. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I sat on my tatties. See, do you really want me to build one of those armies where I'm going to be having stupid outbursts like that all the time? Maybe you do. Maybe that's part of the appeal. I'm not going to lie to you. That's part of the appeal to me is to do stupid voices, you know. Strathclyde British controlled the western side of southern Scotland and northern England, fought against the pre-feudal Scots, Anglo-Saxons, and Vikings. Western side, southern Scotland, northern England. Okay. I can visualize where that is on the map. Alright, what's their army list look like? It's a book 281, I'm sure. Do they have a good accent I can make fun of? Let's get to the important part. Cav general, 2 cav, another cav or a spear, 7 spear. Okay. You have Viking allies. Man, they were around a long time. 580 to 1034. Good lord. Now, actually, all of these sub-Roman British army lists are a good list from my standpoint. I like them all. I just don't like the make believe dude. That's all. I would just call him somebody else that was for real. You guys have some interesting folks. There's no reason you should be making up folks. Any of you guys painted those Wigloff? Any of those Wigloff figures? Are they bigger than? Are they compatible with other stuff? I think that's what it is. Wigloff. They make the army of Penda, a guy I'd never heard of before. They look okay in pictures. Okay, so we need to do a whatever cloak for this guy. So let's mix this up. One that throws to brown a little bit. Could do better than this. Let's put some of this down. We're going to use this as a mixer. I'm going to use that as the dark mixer. Now let's grab us a dirty gray. Don't like it when that happens. Oh, it's my favorite color. It's Kanaki gray. Kanaki gray. Oh, this is a watery morass. All right, let's see what we can do with these two things. Let's get a brush we don't love so much. All right, here. Oh. Now, hopefully, QRF doesn't change their alloy. They have a really good alloy. Some companies seem to still have an alloy problem. They use something that's it's almost softer than normal is the problem. There's some that, I remember these Polish figures I got several years ago called Osmial Osmi. I think they're now carried by somebody else. We bought the molds, but man, I swear, you tried to clean the flash off those guys, and they were like they used like melted down T-54 tanks or something like that. They were from Poland or something, and they were just so hard. They're like harder than the X-Acto blade. I think I'm on the right track here. I like how this is turning out. We'll need to not take this all the way up and just add some white to it for highlighting. Gotta remember where I put my white at. There it is. Unfortunately, it rained a little last night, which probably going to ruin my mowing the lawn thing. My mowing the lawn plans. Not that I was looking forward to it. It just needs to be done. And it doesn't need to be done Monday through Friday where there's not even time to do anything. Well, I woke up this morning to find out that Chinese rocket didn't fall in any populated areas. That's good. We don't need to start a war over that shit. Fell off in the ocean near Malaysia. I like this a little bit more white. No, I wasn't gonna. I got talked out of it. I got talked out of it by someone. I had to go get a haircut. Had my lawn mowed. Which, having that at 10 was kind of a little too early. It kind of screwed things up, so. Skylab. Looks like some SpaceX debris hit a sheep farm in Australia. There's a comparison shot online for Vigloff. They're 18 mil or so to the eye and comparable with Cobblestone Fantasy Range in the same size. I expect they'd fit in with Zyston and Museum Z's. Museum Z's I've seen aren't that big. Zystons, of course, are the monsters of it all. Okay. Problem with using Penda's army is you have to explain to everybody who the hell he is, because nobody knows who he is. Not here in the States. I've never even heard of the guy. I just assumed his gender. I'm looking for Penda. Have you seen him? Who did he fight? Probably other people that had other little kingdoms in Saxon Britain, because the Vikings hadn't showed up yet. Maybe fighting the Welsh when they were war bands. I think that army is actually in a. That army is so lame that Mitch ended up getting that army for free from somebody. He bought a couple armies and they threw that army in as well. That's the warband Welsh army. And I want to say I played them in a video and I won with them. They're like all fast warband and can have like a fast blade general. Spoiler alert, video's been out for 3 freaking years. Should have seen it by now. All right, is it time to do the fleshy bits? Nothing new there. Let's go and get the fleshy colors out. Another guy with dark hair and a mustache. This is never going to end. Speaking of the Welsh, all those Welsh figures from Essex all have mustaches. It was the thing, I guess. What's the name of the sculptor from Essex? I need to do that. I need to make a database of sculptors for different companies. Who's the Essex sculptor? Probably the owner, I would imagine, or the old owner in case it changed owners. What's the name of that guy? I mean, talk about a prolific dude. And I'm assuming it's only one person because his styles are pretty damn consistent. Penda allied with the Welsh against the Northumbrians. Okay. So he's fighting folks that have the same army list, right? Because the Northumbrians would also be Anglo-Saxon. What made him so brilliant that Phil Barker thought he was a brilliant general? Brilliant king. I don't know anything about. I've never heard of him before, ever. Apparently, Essex sculptor is a guy called Paul Abbott. All right, I'm gonna write this down because I'm gonna build a database. I don't know why. Paul Abbott. I've never seen his name mentioned. Okay. And then Old Glory, the 15s that I do aren't done by my hero sculptor because he didn't do any of those stuff because he did Napoleonic stuff and and the ACW there. So I'm not sure who the sculptor of those guys are, but they just released a bunch of Dark Age figures, which is really strange because here in the United States, the way I understand it is you got Old Glory 15s. It used to be called Old Glory 15s. Now they're called 19th century miniatures. And all of the Dark Age, medieval, just about all the 15s are cast in Michigan here by 19th century miniatures. But the Old Glory that comes to, and those guys don't come to Historicon. They used to, but they don't come to Historicon. So the Old Glory has a huge setup, but it's almost like the ones that are made in England because they have all of the larger scale Old Glory stuff, including their ships and stuff like that. And they also have the Blue Moon stuff. And so the Blue Moons are part of Old Glory, but the way I understand it is they're part of the UK Old Glory. So that's going off a LinkedIn posting. I can't see much of his other work. Morning. Any slaves in your Hunnic army? No. Should I put some in there? And welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while. You must be conquering the Stellars. No Huns. None in any of the army lists. No, slaves aren't worth painting. They make them in the Mongol army. I don't know that they I don't know if they're even having them in the DBMM list. I know one thing that's almost impossible to find is foot bowmen for the Huns. As a matter of fact, the only ones you can find reliably, there was actually two sources, I looked at them for a lot of places, is these Hun light archers. And unfortunately, there's only like two different poses. These are these are old Metal Magic guys, but these are the gladiator figures. So these guys make them, and there's a company out of Italy called Camelot Miniatures. And Camelot Miniatures, which apparently are not around anymore, they also made some Hun foot, and they're apparently not available anymore. So, which by the way, there's a Facebook listing. There's a Facebook group that I joined, and I'm not sure why I joined it, but I decided to do something useful with it. It's called 15mm Buy and Sell. So if any of you guys have any roundway figures that you're not interested in, or maybe do a horse trade or something like that, I don't need a lot. I'd like to get the Spanish Command Pack. And the knights that come in there suck, but the guy looks just like Ferdinand of Aragon. So if any of you guys have any roundway guys you want to do a horse trade with or something like that, let me know. But because old John Roberts is definitely MIA. I hope he's okay. I think COVID just pushed him over the edge into not trading. I think people haven't heard from him in a while. I hope he's okay. I've dealt with him a couple times, but three, four times. And I know he had some health issues before. So if you have health issues, COVID stuff isn't going to help you out. It's only going to make the situation worse. COVID complications, COVID, things. So, but yeah, Camelot Miniatures apparently made some Hun foot guys, and they were available. I can't find. I found like one picture of them online, all like in a big group of different folks. So, there's still a Camelot Miniatures presence. But they don't, there's still a Camelot Games presence, but they don't have any miniatures listed. There used to be a guy, back when it was the old Fanaticus, there's some Italian guy who would paint all their figures. So I don't know whether he was the actual sculptor or whatever, but they were well painted figures for Camelot Miniatures, but I've never seen any in person. But it'd be nice to have some other Hun bowmen, because there's only a few poses in there, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right if I don't come across any more other ones. What did I come across sculptors recently that I'm like, I bet this is the same guy that did something else? Because you could tell people's styles and horses and shit like that. And I would have other hero sculptures if I did 28 mil. But I don't. I just don't have the time to paint them. The big advantage I could see doing 28s is if I was doing 28s, right? Like, let's say I'm doing this in 28s. I could paint individual stuff and not have to worry about when other figures come in. If I want to add some other figures to it, they're all based individually, so I could just group them. I wouldn't be so worried like, okay, we got to get all our pieces here at the same time, because once I glue them on a stand, that's it. You know, I can't like add, like if Coruscant comes up with new figures for these guys, I'm not going to add them. I'd have to create other stands, and then they're only on a few of them. It just creates different issues. Okay, Dirk, thanks for stopping by. And that's the advantage of basing them individually that I can see is I can add figures to an army after the army is technically done and not have to rebase anything, or put them on sabos, or where they fit on. There's one guy at Historicon that had did like the samurai battle, and he had these round stands that were and this is all 28 mil, so they were about this big, and they had little holes for, your guys could fit on here. But the stand was round. And then, of course, you could take the individual figures off. I thought that was a really interesting concept. I like the fact that it was a round stand. So that way you could use them for skirmish. You could use them for a set piece battle. Thought it was pretty innovative. Welcome, Kevin. Good morning. From Arizona, Stan. This is Hun number 4. $5:30 a.m. Yeah. Really? I thought you were 2 hours behind, not 3. I could be wrong. The rain is pounding us. Land of extremes. No rain for a long time, and then you get a shitload of rain. I'm going to attempt to mow today, but I'm going to do it late in the afternoon to see if some of this... We got a short shower for maybe 15 minutes last night. And we need to let some of that burn off because I'm going to bog the mower. Doing that. Should have a game night tomorrow night, but not going to be able to be filmed, unfortunately. I'll try to take... How about I take some pictures? Is that good enough? Just take some pictures. Somebody asked me, is there a video? If there's pictures, there's no video. I'm not going to steal my own thunder by showing you pictures of a video that's coming. Think about it. Self-induced thunder stealer. I don't believe in previews. As a matter of fact, I kind of go out of my way not to watch previews. Give away everything that's in the movie. Give away everything that's in the movie. Waiting to see Mitch's new armies. Well, they're not going to be played tomorrow. None of them. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they're not going to be played based on the theme we're supposedly doing. We've got somebody else that just finished a new army, and I'm not talking about me. And we're going to do kind of their enemies. So I think we decided what we're going to do to Mitch. You know, if Mitch ends up surpassing my win record, he's got to wear shoes, or I'm not going to put him on film. He's got to wear shoes every game. And I'm not talking about flip flops. You got to wear shoes. No shoes, no win. That's right. Your victories don't count if you're not wearing shoes. It's not weird that he's not wearing shoes. It's weird that he's basically in an outhouse not wearing shoes. Like, I'm not wearing shoes now, but I'm inside my house, you know. You don't want to bring the dirt and stuff of all the stuff that we pick up outside, bring it in your house. No, I don't do the Asian thing and leave my shoes outside the house either. They're in the garage. You come in through the garage, you leave your shoes there, you're in the house. House gets, dirty enough as it is without tracking frickin' germs from a urinal or something like that in your house. Yeah, I'll have you guys convince her pretty soon to not wear shoes in your house. But the room we play in is basically almost like a shed that you'd store your lawnmowers in, so to speak. I'm not walking out there barefoot. F that. All right. Man, I gotta pee again. All right, I'll be right back. All right. We have. There it is. There's that color. Too nice a brush. Man, I gotta order things from Litco. Some of you guys mentioned in the feed yesterday, said those on eBay there was some of those movement markers. They're in 40 millimeter sections on eBay, and I couldn't find any. I was looking for the wrong stuff, but like these metal ones that used to be made by Corsac engineering. And they have little sections. And you can just screw them on. But these are 1-inch increments, unfortunately. So basically useless. I don't have any plans on playing another game that uses inches for movement. If you don't use the inches, you don't have to talk about partitions of an inch, which are silly. You know? I like centimeters for movement. Now, hopefully we can get this guy done this morning. That'll give me 4 horsemen. I may be tempted to go out and spray them and finish them. Not that they're going to be mounted together. I probably should mount 2 of them together. And that way I can start working on how I want the base to look, but the basing to look. But they'll turn out just fine. Just nice to have a whole completed stand. Where's my white at? The fastest drying color. where's metal corner? Oh, that's all dried up. Creaky ass chair. Now, let's use this brown as the edging on the hat. I say this brown, and the brown's all the way over on this side. .40mm brass hex spacer. Is that what I need to search for? Write that down. 40mm brass hex spacer. .40mm brass hex spacer. Okay, cool. Jeremy, welcome. Everybody's doing fine today. Won't be the case tomorrow. Work day. I'm always doing good on a weekend. Always doing good. All right, I can't take it anymore. I gotta look at eBay for that. See what we're dealing with. Short little break here. Let's minimize that. Let's minimize that. Let's open up another window. eBay. Come on. I hardly use eBay anymore. 40mm brass hex spacer. I guess that means it's hexagonal shaped. 40mm brass hex spacer. Yeah, okay. From China, come on, man. I can't get that. Son of a bitch. I can't buy them, man. I don't need it bad enough. Should be a click on here. Do not show me items from China. From Hong Kong, okay, we can work with that. Hong Kong's okay. Oh, wait. You said, it said Hong Kong, and I was thinking Taiwan in my head. That's the same thing. Sorry. Damn it. Okay, well now I know what to look for, so I bet I could find some online that aren't. Good Lord, there's a lot of the same thing. What if we go on Amazon and we search for 40 millimeter spacers? Rod. Okay, here's some. All right, I'll have to look at them. Now I know what they're called, so we'll have to see what those are. Thankfully, short week for me, taking a day off for a trip with kids before school starts back up. Got to get the male-female ones. Okay. Yeah, these were really nice. Unfortunately, we only got to use them for like 2 years, and then the new DBA switched to base widths, which is much better. It's not like I regret it. It's just a shame that, you know, this has got to be Mitch's. I don't know how the hell I got a hold of it. Maybe he didn't want it anymore. This is definitely his beloved Packers colors. Mitch is always packing. Now I know what they're called, so I can look around. I'm certainly somebody makes them that don't come from the Red Menace. Again, I'm fine if Chinese people make them. I just don't want them to come from, that place. All right. Let's use a grayish color for the... I'm actually fine with the wooden ones. They just break. And they look like everybody else's. All right, shield. Let's pull this little thing and make it bigger. We'll do that little squiggly. It's up there on the top row. Oh, I did it wrong. Gotta do a circle with a dot in it, and then go, and then go, and then go, and then go. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, this last guy has in a dark, so we'll do a light colored one, a lighter colored one. You can use the same brown. Nah, I'm not going to use the swastika. I already have the swastika on my Indians. My Rajputs have a swastika, dude. I'm not opposed to it, just don't want to have that same motif. This is kind of swastika. It honestly looks more like Native American than anything else. I'm not opposed to using swastika stuff. It's not like I go out of my way to use it either, you know. Okay. Now, where's my best brush? Probably this one right here. Let's get some black. The swastika originated in Siberia? It could be. I always thought it was an Indian thing, but maybe it got brought by, you know, southern invasions over there. All right. The circle. We got to do the circle first. All right, let's take some of this color. I think this is it. It's close enough if it isn't. It's over here. And after we're done with this figure, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it a morning. Why does no one else say anything? Everybody fell asleep. Well, everybody was talking, Kevin, and then you showed up and everybody's like, oh, Kevin's got the floor. Nobody say anything. Chinese might be listening in. Screw those guys. It's funny, I told Mitch I've been doing horrible with my Asian armies ever since I put the Chinese blockade on them. My own personal blockade. My Nan Chao, which was actually a really successful army, the bamboo freight train got derailed. Just got decimated. Not really Chinese, but they're Asian. How strange we got that spammer issue yesterday. I hope that's just an isolated case. It's actually the first time it's happened on our live feed. I don't know exactly how it works. You probably get a tenth of a penny every time that somebody clicks on a link that they propose or something like that. All I know is for the rest of us, it's just being screwed with. Well, I think I hear somebody out there. Let me check up on him. Be right back. Don't have much left on this guy. Got a little piece of rope, and then the hooves, and then the tail, and so forth. Right back. Well, that took longer than expected. Yeah, that's what happens when there's real people around. Nothing bad, just, you know. Oh, it's almost transom light 30. That sucks. Let's take a little break from this guy. Let's take a look at these bowmen that I have. I said somehow there's a problem with foot troops for the Huns. People just don't make them. And you know, you wouldn't need to have that many varieties, but it would be nice to have some. I might as well grab the other pack as well. I'm not sure how many poses are in here. I want to say there's only 2. And let's get us a little bag. These are the Gladiator miniatures. And apparently there's a Hun thing to be wearing some kind of... Oh, it'd be nice if I grabbed the figures of the right thing. These are the warband guys. We don't need them just yet. Is that these? Yeah, here's the other bowman. I got some Mongol guys I might be able to mix in, but which, you know, there's some small differences between them. But all these guys have a cloak that's almost made of wolf skin or bear skin. Let's see what's in here. I believe these are 10 figure packs, which is kind of an unusual number. Not because 10's an unusual number, but for whatever reason, they make them at 8s, probably to go with basing. Let's see who's in here. These are the same. Oh, look, guys with mustaches. These guys are the same. These guys are the same. This is the same. Maybe it's all one pose. Wow, they're all one pose? That sucks. I mean, it'll work. It can... Wow, they're all one pose. Well, that's disappointing. So we're going to have to take 3 of these guys for the light bow stands for the white Huns. I may mix some other figures in here, just so you have some variety. Yeah. All one pose. That's disappointing. Okay. Well, it's not the end of the world. Man, I'm going to get a sunburn in the back of my neck from that transom window. We got some other cool stuff in this army. We got some round-way figures. Some of my favorite figures of all time. And I'm not sure why. These are actually in the Mughal range. This is going to be their Bactrian baggage camels. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do... Their camp is going to be a... Oh, F it. Let's open it. Let's not collect things and not play with them. This is Bactrian baggage camels from their... I'm probably going to use these guys as a camp/baggage element. Let's see what we're dealing with in here. And hell, I could probably make 2 of them on here. Now we need to take some of this stuff off. Let these guys sit flushish on here. Yeah. Oh, what was that sound? There's a horn on it. Cute. They're cuter than the real ones. They smell a hell of a lot better. All right, let's see what we're dealing with. Some bags of... This is interesting. Instead of having 2 separate pieces, it's like cast together. I bet this will be a lot more... How does it go between the 2 humps? Nice. These are really cute. Almost don't even need any glue. They fit in there nice and tight. I think I'm going to email Mr. Roberts, see if he's still around. I have a feeling I won't get a response, but I certainly don't want to order and have to try to get my money back. These guys are pretty big. They should be able to fill out a 4440 by stand pretty well. With just like 2 feet. Oh, it helps if you grab the right size. Oh, I guess I don't have one here. Handy. Yeah, dude. Gotta look in the right place. I'd put a guy on foot, but then if you put a little Hun guy on foot, then it's like, oh, it's obvious that's a Hun thing. And I may need to use these guys for another army. So, the smaller camels actually have 2 camels on the stand. But they're smaller. These guys fill them up pretty well. So, man, look at this sunlight. Holy moly. Well, maybe the sun's good. It'll burn off some of that moisture off the grass and we'll be able to mow after all. Excellent. Now go spit in here. Oh. Spitting camels. Let's go ahead and put this on here. Yeah, it's been 3 years probably. 2 years for sure that well, it was 2019. It was before the pandemic when I ordered from them last time. Yeah, there's nothing I gotta have. It just... I like variety. I was really disappointed in what was a Historicon flea market, which was basically nothing. Either the right people didn't show up that wanted to sell things, or nobody had anything they wanted to sell. How much of that do we have? Man, we got probably another 30 minutes of blistering sun. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Let's do a little bit of a cleanup. That's where all my dice are. Interesting. Huns took out some of my favorite armies. Well, like later Romans. I'll put some of this stuff away. Man, the sun is kicking. Yeah, the Huns weren't around for very long. I mean, the ones that went to Europe weren't around for very long. Pretty much Attila died, and it fell apart faster than Qin Shi Huangdi. Who else died? Their kingdom fell apart. Tamerlane, Another guy. I have to mow today too. One of my least favorite chores. You know, it's satisfying when you're done, but it sucks that in 2 weeks everything you've done has been undone. It's like if somebody turned around and unpainted all your figures. I'm just not going to wait. I'm not going to pay somebody to do it. You know, I mean, I used to mow lawns when I was a kid. And I'd get like $5. I'm like, I'll give you 20. I'll give you $10. That's twice as much as I used to make. No, I want 70. Shit, that's doctor's money. I'm paying you that kind of money to mow a lawn when we could all use the exercise. So I was prepared to do it today, and then it rained last night, and it kind of really threw a damper on everything because it's kind of high. I have supposedly slow growing grass, but even so, I didn't mow because I was at Historicon. I mowed the week before, so it's 2 weeks now and it's pretty high. So it's going to be one of those mowers going to be jamming every other way. So it's the weed eating I hate. You know, I don't mind that. I don't mind the weed eating. Usually listen to audiobook while I use my writer. Oh, I don't have enough land to have a riding lawnmower. Thank goodness. Yeah, audiobooks, absolutely. That's what I do. Yeah, that makes it a lot better. Allens, Sarmatians, Bosporans. I had one guy that used to play Historicon all the time. He'd always play the Bosporans, and he did pretty well with them. Kind of a neat army. Allens, I think, don't they hold the record for the longest period of time for an army list? You've been listening to Churchill's History of English-Speaking People. Lawns in Utah are very slow growing right now. We're deep in a drought. Yeah, I don't mind doing it. I'm having a problem now, though, is I think my lawn is just too soft. So when you go over it, the tires will, and I've looked it up. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do other than having to do it twice, but your tire pushes before you're mowing and before you get to it, the tire ends up pushing the blades down of grass. And then you go back over it the next time you go over it with the overlap, and it doesn't catch them. And then after you're done, about an hour later, the blades of grass come up. So you've got all these stupid little lines, and it looks like I'm an idiot and don't know how to overlap it, even though I've mowed freaking lawns my entire life. So it's just annoying to go through all that effort, and it doesn't look perfect, you know. Most peeps have desert scenery rather than lawns out here. Yeah, I wish I had it too. But especially since it's just for looks, I don't do anything out on the lawn. It's not like I'm out there throwing a ball or anything. So, man, this is annoying as shit with the freaking light. You guys can't even see up there. Look, it's just all coming in through there. You're having trouble convincing people to modify their lawns to a desert climate. You wouldn't have trouble with me. The rock garden. I like some of that desert stuff. Maybe it'd get old after a while. You guys get dust everywhere, though. Of course, we have pollen. Let's see, what can we do? Well, is it changing already? I hear somebody weed whacking out there right now. It's okay to admit being an idiot. I do it all the time. Yeah. You get to pick what kind of an idiot you are, though. There's some kind of an idiots that I'm not. Let's see. A useful idiot. Don't be a useful idiot. Oh, Transom Light 30. This room actually has pretty good light. Well, let's see. What's left on this clown? Wow, the lighting is freaking great for a photo from this direction. Fabulous. Horsehair left. The little rope, not much. Let's just knock it out. Yeah, we can't all be good at everything. make sure you're good at something. All right, is there something we could do here with a rope? No, wrong side again. Idiot. This will be the fourth Hun guy. Man, the shadows are really throwing me off. It's almost like painting drunk. Well, I wouldn't know. If I was drunk, I'd have zero motivation to paint. We just sit in a corner and watch the room spin. Used to have a buddy of mine, he would come over on Wednesdays every week and we'd sit around and paint. I had a big 4 by 8 foot table or whatever, had one of these lights in the middle. We just chit chat. He left his minis there and stuff. Every Wednesday he'd come over. Sometimes we'd have a beer. And if we had that second beer, forget it. No more painting would happen. We just hang out, and that's okay too. Oh, we'd always paint for at least an hour, and then after that, could turn into like, who cares? It's about having a good time. I'm probably still going to mow this morning, even though it's wet. Probably closer to 11. It's going to be hot as hell. I don't care. I just need to find some audiobook I want to listen to, and next thing you know what? It's not the mowing. It's dealing with anything that has a cord. It's like fighting that effing cord. I don't have a lot of property, nor do I want it. It's, what, 1/3 of an acre or something like that, with a house sitting on top of it. But the cords make everything really unpleasant. Really unpleasant. We're going to use some of the same color that we did for the horse, but we're just going to not bring it up as much. So there will be man, this is hard to paint with this shadow. I wonder if I can fight the shadow. No, it's this is just causing, it's not going to last that much longer. Regardless, I got a lot done today. Oh, we still have the reins to do. So you like a lot of the guys that fought the Huns. I like a lot of the guys that fought the Mongols, but not the Mongols. Doesn't mean I won't build a Mongol army eventually. Just not a fan of those folks. We were here, I think. Nope. Where were we? God, I can't see. I can't see too good. Yeah, like I'm painting and I'm painting totally blind because I'm in my own shadow. All right. Well, we're going to have to stop because this is about useless. So I'm not sure if we'll be back on today. We're going to try. But this lighting, the light wins. You can't fight this. So, anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. And we'll see you on the next painting session. And until then, happy hobbies. See you, folks. Bye-bye.